So I stayed home and I was doing the work that I needed to do, right? And then I was like, I need to focus. So I took an Adderall. And then I spent the next 8.5 hours on MySpace hitting up bands that I liked, asking them to listen to my band, who had just released a new 3-song demo on MySpace. And I was unfazed. I didn't stop to eat. I didn't stop to drink water. Nothing. Just, hey, what's up? I think I messaged like Gideon. I messaged bands like that. And like looking back on it, I'm like, fuck, I'm really glad they don't remember me. Because I look like a psychopath.
They're like, do I know you for something?
Yeah. Wait, hold on. He's on. I know you.
Walking Blind is hosted by overly emotional dudes who overthink and overanalyze everything. Nothing the hosts say should be taken as medical advice or opinion. They're not professionals. They're about to make that very clear. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Walking Blind podcast. This is episode 110 of the show where we like to normalize checking on the homies. I'm Mike. That is also Mike. And keeping the rhymes going, we got our boy Teyek in the building.
What's good, y'all? What's good?
Welcome, man.
Man, thank y'all for having me, bro. It's good to be in the studio with y'all. You know, like you're saying, regulating, checking up on homies, and that's some stuff I really like doing, from music to everything in life.
Yeah, man. Dude, I'm excited you're here because one, I like bringing in other perspectives because a lot of what we do is like hardcore hip hop, and having the hip hop element come into play is fucking dope for me, But also, when I was messaging you, we brought up like back in 2005, 2006 era.
Yeah, 05, 06.
You have a heavy background. We've probably played shows together. We've been on flyers together.
More than likely, and that's the one thing about it. Like, it was my claim to fame in a sense. It's where I got my ego in the scene. But yeah, playing bass for How to Dismantle a Plague. We were based out of like Victorville. That's where our singer lived at and stuff like that. It was the shit. Slapping bass for 3 years was my life, and I loved it. It was my sanity. It was my therapy. It was my introduction to touring and sort of survival at a young age.
Yeah.
It was nice, and it gave me a little bit of everything that I sort of like reflect back to who I am now, whether it's fighting, whether it's me loving the shit out of what I do, whether it's music, hanging out with my friends, taking care of my son, being with my lady. It just all culminates to I loved heavy music and I was passionate about that shit. So everything else that I'm going to do now as a grown man came from that love of that weird heavy music that sort of all brought us together.
Yeah. Dude, and for How to Dismantle a Plague, like we touched on it for a little bit, and then we can kind of move on to what you're doing now. But that back then, that was heavy. You know what I mean? Like that was like shit was beat down in your face, fucking.
It made sense because in this era, in the early era of what I consider like SoCal hardcore, there was not really, you didn't start a band and say, oh, we want to sound like this. It was more like, okay, you play guitar, I know you play bass, I know you play drums. All right, we're kind of fucking good. Like, let's just jam out. So jam sessions turned into, I want to say it was like a fusion of like groove, death metal with like a sense of like beatdown. Because I'll say it, and I know it's going to sound crazy, but our vocalist Sean was the vocalist of Murder, Death, Kill.
Right. Right.
So their song was a song that we created at that point in time. So Suffocation was the song that blew them up in a sense. After we disbanded, Sean did what he did. I have no malice in my heart towards it because a song that we wrote was still being played in the world and shit like that. So it was dope to see. And it was just cool because even when I hit people with that, when Gabe threw our demo up on YouTube, I couldn't find that shit nowhere. I had no solid copies. I had no merch.
Dude, the archivist, man.
And I love it because Gabe will hit you right in the kidneys out of nowhere. Yeah. And I remember I hit him up. He said, "What?" I said, "Where did you find this?" It was in a crate somewhere, man. I know that people wanted it. And even now, going back to that demo, I was not the bass player on that demo. So that's the one thing I can't take credit for. That was Chewy. When he recorded it, And then I want to say Trent might have played a song when he recorded that. But playing those songs, getting to formulate songs, getting to write music with some of my best friends at the time and to travel all over SoCal and play it and meet some of the best dudes that I still have in my life. It was banging, man. And it was at a time where I was lost. So I was drinking a lot of lean, popping a lot of bars while playing these shows. So I don't remember them a lot. But the ones I do remember, like when we played with Suicide Silence at Karma, when we played with Whitechapel at Trilogy Theater in Victorville, like Trilogy and Karma were our big spots. Yeah. And we knew Travis, who was booking the shows out there, and he would put us on the bigger show. So Impending Doom, we always opened up for. Those were our boys. They were the Riverside Boys and shit like that. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I love going down memory lane because it was something that really instilled in my heart just love for music, love for creating, love for, at the end of the day, I wake up, no one might know me, but I could put a song on and someone might have heard it. Someone might have heard that shit and punched someone in the face at one point and looked at me and said, yes, this is what I needed. So I gave someone what I wanted when I went to a show and I was catching Tear and I'm catching different punk bands as a young kid. It just gave me that feeling. Just gave me that feeling.
Dude, that's so sick.
You got me pumped up, man.
Oh shit, you guys got me pumped up, and that's the one thing, like I said, it's weird because I don't have too many homies that we can go back and talk about the good old days, and in the same sense I do. And so it's always weird when I can talk about the old days with people that I didn't necessarily communicate with, but we could still tie in and sit there and be like, oh shit, yeah, I don't remember you, but guess what? I remember seeing your band's name on flyers with us. Right. Like I remember playing with different bands and shit like that, to where it was like, it really is a community.
Yeah.
And it's a community that cares. It's a community that gives back. It's a community that takes, as shitty as it is, because they got to have that balance in life. But like we said, man, the heavies, I thank whoever I believe in. I think the bigger upbringing somewhere that I'm glad I discovered heavy music.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it opened my eyes to go and say, oh, you know what? I want to go dabble in jazz. I want to go dabble in funk. I want to go dabble in anything else. Because when people were looking at me before it got cool to a sense, people would look at me and, you go to shows and do that? Like, oh, can I hear your band? Oh, never mind. It's not what I thought it was. Like, I thought you were in like a rock band, not a screaming band. Sorry, guys. Like, that's what I do.
It's heavy, guys. You know, what can I say? And then so that band, like you said, had members of Murder, Death, Kill. And also, I believe some of those dudes went on to Sovereign Strength.
Sovereign Strength, from all the times, Nelson, we went through so many drummers, but I want to say the original drummer of Sovereign Strength, Chris, was our drummer. And I want to say we even had Jordan fill in, I want to say guitar or bass when I was filling in something else. So, I mean, Sovereign Strength, How to Dismantle a Plague, and not Face Your Maker, because I don't want to fuck that up. There was another band from Apple Valley, and the three of us were real tight. So if HT Dap was on a show, Sovereign Strength was going to play. If Sovereign Strength was on a show, they were going to get us and the other band. So that was our little run. Yeah. And even the dudes in Betrayal, like they went and did bigger shit. But I remember when they would come out and play the desert, we played with them. So getting to know Shake and Sean and Brandon and all the different dudes, like it was just cool as hell to see bands that we were playing with after we stopped still doing shit, because it really gave me the thought in my head, and not like a regret, but we probably would have did something if we had our heads screwed on straight. But shit, we were teenagers trying to drink beers and just be cool, man, as crazy as it sounds. And we did it, but it didn't pay off.
And speaking of Shake, though, fucking killing it.
Dog, I'm fucking, oh my God. I want to say, and I ain't going to put him on blast, but Andrew, if you watch this, I love you. But Shake, man, it's so crazy. Because I want to say he moved away, like after Betrayal and everything sort of died down. And then he just came back with this flow and this different style, and he was shitting on the game because he was still himself.
Yeah.
'Cause that's who Shake's always been. We'd go sit in the back of the Betrayal van and would smoke that thing out until we couldn't breathe anymore. And then we'd go play a show. He'd go mosh for my band, I'd go mosh for his band, and it would just be nutty. But I'm so proud of everything he's doing, man, from fucking being signed to G59 to even still showing love to the hardcore scene and stuff like that. Because that's one thing I feel when people go in a different lane, people forget at a certain point. But to the ones it had a big fucking impact on, you can't forget. So I'd be real fake to sit there and be like, nah, man, like, I don't really go to shows that much, so I don't remember it. Like, nah, it was a very big part of my teenage years that, shit, man, those were my wonder years. I'm in my prime right now, but the wonder years, it was beautiful. So getting to see Shake grow up and just become a man and just take over the game, bro, and to get the respect from hardcore kids that grew up with them, to see kids that never even knew he was in a band flip out when they see him at different shows and shit like that. So it's like, wow, bro, you have all these generations that missed out on Betrayal, but they get to experience Shake. And it's just cool because then it gives people that never listen to hardcore and they only listen to Shake. All right, well, what's this heavy stuff he's listening to? Who's that band? Drain. Oh, and it just opens doors, which is the most beautiful thing for music, when you can open doors for someone else. And that's just giving back.
I love it because it's like, well, even I've seen with you too, like the picture that we posted today, like you're doing a hip hop show rocking a Terror shirt, right?
Sick.
You know, and that's like,
No, see, I will stop you guys. It's
Is
a
it?
Terror rip,
oh, is it?
but it's my own shirt.
Oh, no
cool.
shit.
So it's the old school.
Dope.
Yeah, it's the old school tee, and then it says the endeavors you express creatively on the back. But the fact that you said that means I did my job.
That makes it even cooler.
Because when I told my dude Ryan, the bass player for Broken Mouth, I was like, hey man, I want you to make me a Terror rip. And he looked and he was like, well, what do you mean? I said, I just want an old school, old English tee, and then just boom, old school, old English on the back, what
Make it
my
look
name
like a
means.
Terror shirt, yeah.
And he said, I got you. And he fucking printed these shirts up. And I will bring you guys some merch just because I didn't even put two and two together. But I will bring you guys some stuff. But no, that makes me happy because no, it's not a
I
Terror
straight up
shirt.
thought it was a Terror
Same,
shirt,
dude,
and I was
dude.
stoked on it too. Dude, that's even better because I love the like the subtle rips, or like the I even like the like bootleg shirts, like when you see bootleg brand shirts and shit.
Yeah.
I think to this day, I've had many pieces of merch. I think the one that I still have is my Nasty shirt, and it's a Master of the Universe. It's a Skeletor rip. It glows in the dark and everything. But I think my favorite shirt still to this day was what was it? The Unbroken Wings one, where they ripped the Two Live Crew picture and it was booties on the beach. That shit is where I got. All right, if hardcore bands are ripping hip hop, I can make hip hop and rip a hardcore
Dude,
band.
that's
Like
sick.
that's paying homage to how I learned. Like that's giving credit.
Yeah. And like you said, you might find a kid who's gonna be like, oh, what's that from? And you can be like, I actually ripped this off from the sick hardcore band. Check it out. You know, put a new kid on to
Just keeps that
hardcore.
circle fully going too. Like you said, someone can sit there and be like, oh shit, is that a Terror shirt? Nah, man, it's a Teyek shirt. Oh, who's that? Well, that's me. I make hip hop if you want to check it out. But grew up listening to the heavy, so you might fuck with it because the shit that I rap about isn't necessarily gang banging and street violence. It's being a kid coming up in a hard situation sometimes that you're just trying to figure out how to maneuver life. And shit, end of the day, no matter if it's hip hop, hardcore, country, we're all just trying to figure out that little path of life where we can just maneuver just a little bit easier, man, because y'all know that shit's gonna knock you down all the time. But if I could hit a left and veer right real quick and still keep on my path and be a little bit better up here, I ain't losing.
No.
Can't lose that one.
And I think a big thing too is that we kind of touched on this a little bit last week. We had Alex on, you know, the correlation between hip hop and hardcore, and like even punk stuff, is so close because there's so much like rooted in the same like groovy, bouncy, vibes to both types of music that they play well together.
Yeah, they
Right?
really
Like,
do.
And now I'm gonna be the first to say that like I love hip hop, love rap, hate a lot of the heavy vocalists that are trying to rap in their stuff because it feels disingenuous. But there are a few people who can pull it off.
There definitely are, and I know sort of like the drill rap kind of stuff where they're screaming over stuff like da 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 da.
Yeah, it's okay.
I get it, but nah, there are some acts that I really do like. Like I'm trying to think. Was it Sauce Moolah, City Morgue? Like they're really good at blending guitars and certain like drum riffs, but it still has this grimy hip hop feel, almost like some Memphis type shit, some old 3-6 Mafia or like Project Pat and stuff like that. Where all right,
Bouncy.
y'all are gonna turn up, and that's your way of letting your voice out. We all got to have a voice and let it out when we make music. So it's like, all right, you scream, and that's your tone. That's what you like doing, and you're gonna kill it. But there is a lot I hear, and I'm saying, oh man, I just, for me personally, I don't like how it went with such a drastic like following with like, oh, if you do hip hop, you can mix hardcore metal with it and it'll instantly gain some sort of traction. And I feel people use that sort of niche to sell it. Because I know there's a lot of motherfuckers that make, I don't even know what to call it, drill music or hard hop, I don't know, but I don't feel it's really genuine. I feel it's okay, this is what's good right now, or this is what's sort of getting the attention of people. Let me just do that instead of, all right, let me create my own little formula. Let me find out what works. Let me find out what doesn't. Because even with my musical journey, the songs I wrote 7 years ago aren't the songs that I'm writing now. Even in my delivery, my cadence, my lyrical structure, the way that I actually know how to count bars and measures now, something that I forgot just from being so dumb and ignorant to it, that I had to reteach myself music because I'm classically trained in music as a kid, like playing trumpet and stuff like that in band for almost 4th grade to 9th grade. So I mean 5 years, but it was a good 5 years and it taught me a lot. So it's like I seem like a hater when it comes to the harder rap sort of merger, but it's all music. It's all good. I learned to formulate my music in a way that works for me, because a lot of people expected me to be doing the screamo sort of stuff or the screaming heavier music. And when I presented just more like a lyrical content of like, nah, bro, I just like chilling. And that's me. And I can tell that story. And I'm sorry for even going on that tangent because I know this shit just went on a full 360.
It's okay.
And that's how I get down. But no, like, it works. Music's beautiful. I'm sorry for that one, guys. That one went completely left.
So for me, because I don't know if I necessarily know what kind of music you guys are talking about, because I don't know if I've heard that kind of music. Does it feel disingenuous because is it guys that are like in heavy music trying to break into hip hop in that way, or is it guys in hip hop trying to take what people do in heavy music and break into that way?
I want to say the latter. I feel it's people that once again might have heard City Morgue sitting on their computer and said, "Oh man, this looks really cool," in like a culture vulture sort of thing. They're taking these things, and they don't really know what it's about. And I hate being that way, and it's not gatekeeping, but if you don't go to hardcore shows,
right,
don't mix it. I'm not being a hater. If you hear something and you like it and you want to sample that for your music, by all means, but don't have this persona of, oh, this is what I'm about, this is what I do, when you're probably at the house just reading comic books, which isn't wrong, but just be who you are. Don't think, oh, the hardcore scene's hard, so everyone's just gonna assume I'm hard now. Like, nah, if you're a loser, the hardcore has a place for you. Like, hardcore has some of the, I'm a loser, but hardcore made me hard. I had to live it. You had to go through it. You had to go to shows. You had to go see people that didn't like you. You had to go get beat up. You had to go party with your crew and have people hate on you and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. I feel it's not genuine, And the same way people said, oh, Elvis took from like old blues musicians and shit like that. That's what I really feel it is. They're just taking the cool shit about it and trying to make it their own, when nah, man, you got to find out what's cool in hardcore. You got to find out what you like. You got to like this. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Say I remember for me, like, I used to kind of get like early on in high school. I felt like people would think like I was kind of elitist. Now I felt about punk rock.
You are.
I am, but the way I saw it was, like, I saw it as like whenever like somebody would like find out, like, hear this one song or see one like Pennywise music video and be like, oh, now I'm like into them and I go to the show.
I like Broham.
Like for me, yeah, but I think what it was for me was I had a hard time with that because I was like, dude, I worked so hard to find these bands. I worked so hard to find, this genre, because like my introduction was Green Day, and then from Green Day it was like, okay, what else is catchy? Oh, like, and then from there went on these like more like the more underground, more obscure punk bands, and then I started to really find these like bands that you really had to dig for, and like it was just exciting, and like, going on that journey was like my close friends, and then like you start meeting people that are like, oh, I heard this band, and like I heard this one song, and like now I have their T-shirts and stuff, and it's like, fuck, I don't need another T-shirt, you know what I mean? Like I just felt like I'd put in so much effort, and then people would show up, just kind of like cutting line. That's how it felt.
Yeah.
Because like you said, we came from a time, I know age-wise a little bit different, but in the same generation, like we didn't have a computer to sit there and be like, oh, let me just find all this music, or social media wasn't so big to where check out this new band for fans of this. Like, no, we had to go out of our way, and you either had a homie that had the CD booklet that would be a million CDs, or you had that one friend who you would send your iPod to, and they would load it with all the music. That was the one way the two ways I remember getting music. And had homies at a certain point like, hey, and coming into Folsom, when I got into Folsom, I remember hitting my friend, I'm like, what's that? Let me get that in my iPod. And he was like, oh, no, you can't get that one.
What?
All right, fuck, man. Month went by. Hey, man, I see a seat. Let me get that Folsom folder right there. And he was like, you know what? I think you earned it. You earned your stripes. And so he was like, here you go. And it was beautiful, because to have those elitist friends, it sucked during the moment, but at a certain point, it made me appreciate the bands just a little bit more, because it wasn't thrown in my face. It tried to go dig in the mud and go find it.
Yep.
Dude, I kind of, it's like I hated it, but also there's like I missed the whole looking through booklets. Is this a band or is this someone's name? And then looking through like the booklets and seeing like, what is that, a T-shirt of a band, or is that just something obscure? And then like trying to search for it, and then, dude, I had, my notebooks were crazy, because like
I remember looking at like zines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you'd see like somebody ran an ad, and it's the shittiest ad, but you're like, that looks kind of cool, right? Like, I'm gonna check it out. And half the time it sucked. Other times you're like, I found a fucking gem in here. Like, I found a band that I never would have expected.
Dude, or even going to like I feel blessed to have grown up when I did, because being from Riverside, I had the barn. The barn was still doing shows. I had the Showcase Theater. Showcase Theater was doing shows.
Oh,
I had
Rest in peace.
You guys were lucky enough to be like one of the resident Showcase bands too. Like,
yeah,
NBR
we got to play
a lot.
But that being said, like I remember there would be times when it's like especially for Ryan Seaver and my buddy and I, where it's like, okay, we have enough. Who's playing this weekend? Do you know any of these bands?
But we're gonna go anyway.
Let's go. Font looks cool. Let's go.
Yeah.
And hit and miss. Sometimes we show up and it's like metal, and we felt super out of place. Sometimes it was like super crust punks, and we felt super out of place. You know what I mean? But it's just like, but that's what it was, like, exciting, or I found this. Oh man, I'm going on such a tangent. I wanted to go see at the time. I was really into a band called Slick Shoes, and they were playing at Cuckoo's Cafe.
Okay.
Did you guys ever go to that place in Santa Ana? It's like it was like a house.
Mm.
It was like basically a house. And so, you know, I knew they were playing. I didn't know who any of the bands were, but we're like, well, we don't know these bands. Let's go check them all out.
Go see him.
Got there early. There was the opening band. They were this pop punk band. Thought they were sick, and like went, introduced myself to the singer, and like asked if I could buy his, you know, if they had a CD because I wanted to buy it, and he was just like, dude, if you want it, I will give it to you, because they were getting kind of a hard time for some people that were there.
Yeah.
Coming to find out later, the people giving him a hard time were their own homies. It was Zach from Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh shit,
dude. And so this is a very
microcosm
to like how like this. I had this weird. This became this like weird connection with Avenged Sevenfold.
I remember
and it's because I became friends from like checking out the left-hand guitar player, his pop punk band, and just that's how I got his email. That's how we like stay in touch. And then when Avenged became Avenged, they like were still nice to me because I was, you know, supportive of the pop punk band.
That's always cool too, and I want to say I'm starting to notice it more. Just real quick, but it's like people don't do that no more. Where you have someone that's in metalcore band, and then all right, I'm gonna make pop punk music.
Mm-hmm.
I miss that, but I'm starting to notice it a little bit more now. And like even the homies are doing it. Like I know the homie Dave is in 97 Minutes, but then he has his 3 or 4 little side projects that he's doing, and they're all different genres. And I just feel that's really cool for music right now because people are just expressing themselves again, which gives you a different sound, and it gives people something different to pick up on. It for creatives, it's cool as fuck because he might create something over here and don't work, but it might work with 97 Minutes and. It's just, I don't know, it's just cool that people are still doing that. Because for a long time, I don't feel people were. It was more, I make this type of music. This is all I'm going to do. If you don't like it, fuck you. Later.
Yeah. And that was one of the things that, once again, Alex, we had on last week from Destruction of a King, had said that, like, during that time, it was like, we have to stay a cool band, right? Like, we have to be that cool band. People need to think we're cool. And then at some point, if people no longer think you're cool, they just stop showing up. Yeah. But now, like, like we said, there's no rules anymore. Like, the same dudes that are in the heaviest of bands also have like a fucking acoustic side project that like
freaking Turnstile, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking drummer from TY.
Dude, all those dudes were in like the heaviest of projects, and then Turnstile happens.
There was just something in the water. I swear to God, because I know exactly what you mean. It's like it was just a super group, and then everyone else did something, and it was just another super group.
Yeah,
yeah. And it's always the fun side project that we're just doing this to do something cool with our friends, and then it takes off.
Dude, boy Tony, freaking played in Recon, Acacia Strain, and then the state champs.
Yeah.
It's like what?
Dude. Which blew my mind when I found out about that, but still,
crazy.
Dude, but that's just cool. I think I respect that so much because it's like that to me, like, you truly enjoy music. Like, it's something that you enjoy, or you enjoy the people you're doing it with, which is cooler. You know, like,
and it really shows that it's an outlet. It's all right. Fuck it. I don't care if I'm making hip hop. I might make a country song one day. I'm not saying I will, but shit, I might get in the mood where I hear a little guitar strumming and a boot kicking a drum, and I might do some shit because I don't just hear music. I hear something else that I want to tell a story. So whether it's over heavier music, I could do it. Could I front a hardcore band? Probably not, because I know no one wants to hear this. But could I do different things with my voice that people might want to hear, from hip hop to, I don't know, talking spoken word over a goddamn waterfall? I'll make something happen.
So before we dive into your current project, was there anything in between, like How to Dismantle, Plague, and then basically all the shit that you're doing now?
No, there was a big empty void of drugs and me becoming a father at the age of 18, and me trying to figure out how to live life. Because I want to say from HT disbanding to me starting hip hop, I did nothing with music other than kicking a freestyle on the curb or something like that at work. But 2008, 2017, almost a good solid 10 years of not creating, of going mentally insane and causing it to myself, because I always knew music was my outlet. I always knew that was my way of just venting to the world. And when I stopped doing it, or no, when I started doing it with hip hop, I fucking got mad at myself because I wondered how I could leave music. But I was a young dad. I didn't know how to maneuver going to shows, playing shows, taking care of my son, because I was just so hyper fixated on being a dad. I didn't really know how to do anything else.
Right.
Son's almost 14 now, or son is 14 now. Wow. Gonna be 15 this year.
Dude.
So with that, coming back into music, he was 6, 7. So for the past 7 years, he's got to experience his dad creating. He's got to see a happier dad. He's got to see a dad that he probably wouldn't have seen. And as crazy as it was, I got into music. I won't go too big into it. I lost a good homie back in we're in 2016. And I sort of went back into messing with the lean and the bars and the things that made me comfortable in coping with taking a big loss. That one day my homie looked at me and he said, "We're not doing this again. So we're going to get you in the studio." And it was my homie Justin, who was part of my crew, Heavy Hands, back in the day, and someone that just always sort of looked out for me in a big brother sense. And I can never thank him enough for that, because that really saved my life, because I would not be here talking to you dudes. I'd probably be in the street strung out, or I'd probably be locked up for trying to do something stupid because I thought I was a big bad gangster when I was on these drugs, or my son wouldn't have a dad and I'd just fucking be gone from this world. So there was a big empty gap from me doing music from HTDAP, but I feel like I really just had to live life a little bit and get knocked over the head a couple times and deal with losses and growing up and becoming a man, to finally sit there and say, like, I got a story to tell.
Right.
And in the first release, it was the picture of it is my boy. Like, those are stories I needed to just get off my heart, from heartbreak to just sort of dabbling on talking about me being a drug addict and finally admitting it to a certain point, to now I can make music and not be ashamed of who I was at any point in my life. So if I make a song and I happen to use a line about doing Xanax or doing codeine back in the day, it's not me glorifying the shit. It's not me saying, oh, hey, you know what? Go do it, like all the rappers told me to do it when I was coming up. But it's shedding some insight. I'm a normal motherfucker just like anyone else that can fall to the evil, that can fall to the wicked, but can also come back and say, you know what? I took those licks, but I kept on ticking at the end of the day, homie, and that was the most beautiful thing about it.
Yeah.
Music really saved me in the whole. And I know people say that. I know you could talk to a million people that could look you in the eye and tell you that, but certain people, you feel it.
Right.
And I know from the jump, I would not be here.
And I love that, because I feel like there's people who, you know, have had an opportunity. I'm sure we all have. When we talk with friends, and they'll share that, oh, music saved my life, and I love that so much. But I like it even more when it's like, music saved my life, and now I create music now, and I share it, because that comes out and that resonates. And I always feel like people who have had experiences with, or even if they don't even do music, you know, even if they like just
being a creative in general.
Yeah. Like they do something, find an outlet, it's painting, or they express themselves, or either just become like more, more, what's the word, comfortable speaking on what they've been through.
Yeah.
Like that is so, like to me, that's like real tangible, like, I don't even know what to call, I don't even know what to call it. Like, I call it being a weapon when I talk about people who have survived, you know, for what I talk about, like people who have survived, like suicide attempts, or survived even just those scary moments of depression, people who survived addiction. It's like, dude, if like, do not be like scared about like speaking of what you've been through, because like you've survived it. That is so much strength in itself. And if you're willing to share that, like that changes lives, that saves people, and that is like,
it's commendable, because people, like you say, people don't do that. People from heavy music to everywhere else, you could just have this persona of, all right, well, this is who I am, and if I say fuck you every day, then that's who you're gonna expect me to be. But at the end of the day, to be a little bit vulnerable with people and sit, like you said, sit there and say, you know what, I was a fucking junkie. Was I sitting there shooting up heroin or smoking meth? Nah, but I was still hella getting fucked up on pharmaceuticals. I was a piece of shit. It gets better though. You don't always got to be a piece of shit. You don't always got to keep the mentality of, all right, shit sucks, so let me just add to the shit pile. Like, nah, man, get a shovel and dig your way out. It's gonna stink for a little bit, but it's life. Shit ain't always good, and it ain't always bad.
Yeah.
dude, yeah. So what if you step in shit and you bring it into your friend's studio? You just clean it off. No one has to get upset.
And you have to record the next song or two wearing only one shoe because you stepped in shit. It happens.
Hey, shit,
happens.
what did they say? Shit happens.
It happens. Dude. Well, let's talk what got you started, or how'd you even get started, and where to go from there?
Getting started with hip hop and stuff like that. It started probably back in 2012 when I first moved out of Rialto, because I was born and bred in Rialto, California, but moved to Palm Springs, started working at a weed dispensary, and once again, my good homie Justin got me the job there, looked at me one day, and he said, I'm going to throw a beat on, freestyle. Okay, big homie tells you to do something. I'm a soldier, so fuck it, I guess I'll rap. I've never done this before, but we'll try it. And something just made sense. And the first freestyle I ever spit, I don't remember what the hell it was. I could tell you the first song I wrote, but it just made sense. It just kind of flowed. I fell off a little bit, but he looked at me and he said, dog, you got to do something with this. Because he said, I haven't heard anything. I wasn't really happy. So, like, I haven't heard anything that made you smile in a long time, is what he said to me.
Right.
And I looked at him and I said, man, you know what? Let's do a little freestyle battle at the shops on Fridays. And if people come in and they beat me, they can get a free eighth. All right, cool. So now
Dude.
I'm freestyle battling up and coming rappers from Palm Springs, Coachella Valley, and stuff like that. And I'm not a rapper. This was before I even considered myself an MC. I think I had the name Teyek because I always loved tagging, so I always just made little monikers and names and shit for myself. But I'm starting to notice that, okay, Joe Blow came to battle me, and he wasn't that good, but homie over here came and he really takes pride in his craft, and he was trying to deliver some shit. All right, Tommy, I think you got something here. So years go by and I'm just, because once again, I'm still on drugs, just lazily living through life, doing this freestyle shit. 2016 hits, good homie overdoses. We go back into that dark train. My boy looks at me, and obviously in his words, I look like shit and we're not doing this again. Took me into the studio because he was going to school for music engineering and production. So I lucked up. I got a free producer that wanted to look out for me. And then I want to say, date-wise, I'm looking November of 2017. I put out the 12 songs I made. I made a first EP called Redemption Compassion, and there was like 5 songs on there. And then a month later, I dropped 7 Deadly Sins, which was another 7 songs that I wrote. And I actually kind of went a little hard, and it showed me a lot because now I have music in the world that people can judge, and the first songs suck, but they were my truth. They might suck to people, but every little word I wrote I'm not unhappy with. Like, I needed to start somewhere to build up where I'm at now. And then after 7 Deadly Sins, I want to say I dropped Just Another Rialto Resident. And that was during the pandemic, which kind of fucked me over because 2019, I started doing local shows and shit like that. Pandemic hit, put everything on the back burner. So I'm sitting there like, oh, fuck, well, can't do shows. Might as well put out music. So in the pandemic, I don't want to get lost with like project names, but I want to say from 2020 to 2021 end, there's probably like 3 or 4 projects I completed. EPs, full lengths, like I was just cooking.
Dude.
I was just cooking. Because I want to say now in my catalog, I have 78 songs out right now.
Oh, dude, that's
solid.
that's awesome.
Once again, I don't have 78 bangers, but at the same time, shit, now I want to say there's a good 25, 30 that I could put on and people will enjoy. And people might not even expect me to create the music that I do now. And it's like, it's been a fun journey because it was something that was really my therapy. It was my go-to. I gave up once, and I hate sounding like a broke record, but I gave up drugs cold turkey this last time. And I really needed something to focus on when I was feeling sick, when I felt like giving up, when I felt like just ending everything at that point in time. It really grabbed me by my neck and said, nah, man, like, I don't know when you're going to make the song that someone needs to hear, but you're going to stay around to make that song. And shit, 78 songs later, I'm still on a journey to make that song. It just works.
Dude, and I think the dopest thing about that is that, like, you know, you kind of said not all of them are bangers, which is fine, right? Yeah. Like, everything that you do, especially when it comes to, like, hip-hop, especially when it comes to, like, this type of thing where you're essentially working, like, on your own, right? So everything progresses your craft. This song might not be, like, at the top of your list, but you have gained something from that track because you might have tried a different flow. You might have tried something different. Your vocabulary is stepping up. Everything that you're doing is kind of building off each other. And the same thing, like, with freestyling in the dispensary, like, that's fucking dope. That's because, so like, sick. Like, there's writing and then there's freestyling where, you know, like, on one hand, you can fine-tune shit when you're writing. When you're freestyling, when you're with people, like, that, though, is going to build you up even more because this is all off the top of the head, right? Like, this is all off the top of the dome. So you got to come out and you got to, like, either you're going to say the same shit over and over again or you're going to step it up and you're going to have this ability to, like, oh, this dude came in and his sneakers are busted up. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the stain on your t-shirt because you were eating a hot dog earlier. You know, like, you just find little things that you can build off of and go. And that, like, in turn, just all of that builds your craft as a lyricist because you're just finding different ways to express yourself.
It's another piece of the puzzle, like, of being a student of the game. I know people in heavy music don't say it, but, like, we're all students of the musical game. Like, we're all trying to learn, we're all trying to better ourselves, we're all trying to find that next thing that no one's heard, that we can put our stamp on and say, you know what, that's me. And with, like, freestyling just always made sense to me. Like I'm saying, from the first day that the homie said, hey, freestyle, that to me is performing is my most high. I love performing. I could rock a crowd to 20. I could rock a crowd to, I think the biggest was maybe like 150. And I just love it. I love that energy. I love giving and I love getting it back. Fuck, where was I going with that? Damn, see, that's my downfall. I should tell you that right now, but no, see, reiterate what you were saying because I know where I wanted to go with that. Freestyling. Being a student of the game. Yeah, student of the game, freestyling. Freestyling is where I have my most fun. Yeah. Like, to just, I'll pull it up after we do all this, but, like, that's where you just see me just having fun, smiling, doing what I got to do because it's mentally a workout. It's, I can't just sit there and say, oh, fuck you and your crew and your shoes. Like, I'm not an ABC rapper, so I gotta, all right, change it up. How do I talk? I talk a little bit gutter. I talk a little bit different, so I gotta make that come out in my rap and in my hip hop. And it's like the freestyling shit. I'm glad I discovered that before really trying to write a song, because I don't think I'd be as far in hip hop if I didn't find the love for freestyling before creating the song.
Yeah, it's a different beast in and of itself, even though they tie so closely together. But if you look at, like, you know, for Mike, for example, if you look at a bunch of hip hop artists now, right, there's a difference between people will say like, oh, this is a freestyle, and they're still reading it off their phone when they're rapping, which I fucking hate, versus like somebody that you could see just comes in, like they give you a beat and they tell you like, hey, rap about this. And the people that like have their mind trained for freestyle, you're like, I could rap about this cup, and then you'll tell me switch to that Sharpie, and my verses will switch to about that Sharpie, and then we'll talk about the guitars on the wall, and you just throw like these ideas at people, and then if they can pick up and run with it, that flow, that's like, it's a different type of training for your brain, because okay, like I can think on the spot, and I can just, and it's kind of like when we all get together and we start ripping on each other.
I was about to say, like, when the homies would start ripping, like, if you weren't quick with it,
you're done.
Yeah.
You're getting burned, boy. You're getting, I know I'm toasting your ass because you ain't got shit to say. Same with hip hop. And I think because I was battling people at a certain point, and that was my introduction to kicking rhymes, I kind of was going into a war field. Like, yeah, I knew how to physically fight, but I can't fucking punch someone because they say some shit that I take offense to, like when we're rapping. And that I had to mentally train myself for, because I'm sitting there like, oh, no, this was calling me a bitch. Like, in life, this would not normally occur so frequently, but all right, well, cool. Now I know I can call you a bitch. Yeah. So it just kind of gives me where I can play, and it shows where people's mentals are at, because you might have someone that just might pick me apart in the craziest way and not say anything derogatory towards me.
Right.
And you might have someone just look at me and say, you fucking Forrest Gump looking motherfucker, and just that'll be their freestyle.
When I used to always trip, because it was every time that I would freestyle with people or whatever, if somebody told an Asian joke, I was like, you're out. Like, this is the easiest thing to fucking talk
low hanging fruit.
Yeah. Let's just make an Asian joke. My eyes are small. Yeah, I know. Right. And then, but like the people that would find ways to say it without literally saying my eyes are small, I'd be like, oh, you're clever. Yeah. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, so like just that ideal of like, I could tell you fuck you in like 36 different ways without just saying fuck you. Like, that's the part I love.
Just makes it so much better.
Yeah.
That's cool. Pat yourself on the back a little bit, like, you know what? You did that.
So freestyle is basically it's like the difference between someone who's trained to fight but has never been in a street fight, as opposed to somebody who's only been in street fights
and then fights a trained
fight. It's like you're gonna see the difference in what they do. One who's like passionate about it, the other one who's like just there to do it, I guess.
Well, like thinking back on like if you listen to old school like Ludacris stuff, right? Like Ludacris back in the day would call into the radio stations and just freestyle at the radio stations, like before he put out records or anything like that. And that's how he got discovered, because he would call in and do these freestyles with the radio stations. And so it's just stuff like that, like being quick-witted, it keeps you on your toes. And then when you apply that to writing, like you're already in the state of mind where you can just do and say one sentence in a million different ways. It just boosts your writing like times 10. It's like something with no bragging rights that you're really good at, with like forming a thought or a sentence. It's not just straightforward, right? It's not just here's straight to the point, here's what we're saying. Like there's ways that you mold and shape that story around the point that you're trying to get across. And it's like the same idea with like the good hip hop artists that are telling a story can tell you that story and like weave this whole intricate picture. And
I just guess I don't. It hurts my brain to see how fast it happens. Like for your buddy to be like, "Yo, freestyle on this." If Mike were to put on a beat like freestyle over this, I'd be like, I don't know.
I think it kind of adds to like who I am too, because I mean, it comes into like I was such a people pleaser growing up that I would stretch myself so thin for my homies, which is why I say like I was a soldier at a certain point. But like, not anyone could do that. But like I'm saying, there's certain big homies I had that put me on the hardcore scene, sort of walked me through and showed me how to maneuver in the scene. And he was one that could literally sit there and say, you know what, freestyle right now. And I said, all right, well, fuck. Someone else might have done it, and we might not be here talking about how the hip hop started, but I'm thankful he did, because I know for a fact anyone else could be like, Tommy, freestyle. Shut the fuck up, dog. Like, no, you freestyle.
Yeah.
Ain't no joke. Like, I'm not a clown. You do it. But with him, I didn't take it like that, and it opened my eyes that even though I was fucking on drugs, it still presented myself like, you know what, dog, you can still do something, and you're half-assing it right now. So what if you applied yourself a little bit? All right, fuck it, let's see what we can do.
78 songs.
78 songs later.
Dude.
78's a lot.
Dude, and to finish, because you could have, there's a lot of people who could be in a gear position, and it can be like, dude, I have like 78 ideas. Or I could have, I could have, you know, and people who are like, yeah, you know, oh, dude, like, if I were to put all my stuff together, I probably got like 78 songs. Like, we all know a lot of those people for any genre of music. So to have like we, and I like how you said, you know, your first couple of songs, they weren't good, but you still put them out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I like to think that comes from also like the hardcore background.
DIY,
it's like,
fuck it.
Yeah,
It's that
like
fucking
there's our
mentality,
demo.
dog.
That's our first recording. Until we write better shit.
It's a little raw, it's a little gritty.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't sound the best, but it's just that raw,
That's what it is.
rugged.
And we'll be the first to say like, oh, listen to this. I fucked up that part.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, listen. See what I do right here? I fucked that up. That's a mistake.
If you hear, if you like it, it's cool, but that wasn't
Yeah,
supposed to be in
I
there.
fucked that up.
Dude.
Like, don't listen to this. It's fine. All right. So, a couple questions for you. You know, we kind of answered a lot of them, but what made you want to become an MC? Did you always enjoy hip hop, or did hip hop come after the heavy, or was it kind of intertwined?
Growing up, I mean, I'm a kid of the '90s, so I mean, on the radio, you had Biggie, you had Mace, you had Tupac, you had Snoop, you had a lot of the West Coast and East Coast legends that were accessible on the radio. And I mean, as a young kid who didn't necessarily have CDs, I knew I liked that sound. And then it just molded more. I fell out of hip hop when I got hyper fixated and found the heavy, because at that point in time, the heavy was new. The heavy was something that just rattled my brain in the best way possible. But hip hop was always there. I know you guys not remember, but in the sense of like the early 2000s, when you had that one person that might pull up to a show and they're listening to the Postal Service, or they're listening to Circus Survive, but it's one of the baddest motherfuckers you probably ever seen in your life. That's kind of what I was doing when I was pulling up to shows. I was listening to Circa, hip hop, like anything that wasn't heavy, because I was already gonna be beating ass at the show. So they always tied together, because I never held myself to just one style of music. Like growing up, besides being a hardcore kid, I was a skater and a punk.
Yeah.
So like British Invasion as a kid, I think my first British Invasion at the Nas Center was when they had the riot in 2003. So I was 12. So I was a 12-year-old kid going to British Invasions and shit like that. So I don't know. I've always been eclectic. But what made me want to be an MC and just tell my story, like I'm saying, was we all lost Luis and it was bad. And I just wanted to tell the world that it's okay. We all go through loss. We all go through shit. We all get depressed. We all face these highs and these lows. And in my life, which has been a fucking crazy life over the past 33 years, I could talk about anything, from being in the streets gangbanging, from being at hardcore shows, being with the crew, from being an 18-year-old dad, from getting into some of the craziest fights to where I should be dead, but I'm not. So I feel it makes perfect sense that I make hip hop because I can rap about me, which happens to be a crazy enigma because I've lived a bunch of lives. I've dabbled in the punk scene. I've dabbled in hardcore. I dabbled in rockabilly and psychobilly just because I love music.
Yeah.
I was that hardcore kid at a rockabilly show. I was that hardcore kid at a punk show, but I just loved the music. So making hip hop and finding a love in music again is what made me want to be an MC. Because going through this dark time, made these songs and literally told people, I'm not going to do shows. I'm just doing this for therapy. You're only going to hear these songs I'm recording. To getting balls and saying, dog, people are asking you to do shows. You have songs that people now want to hear. You have songs that make people happy. Fucking go perform them.
Yeah, do that shit.
And so that grew into it where I was like, you know what? Yeah. So fully embodying being an MC, just doing it is what made me want to do it even more. Because I could look at anyone and go, oh, I want to do that or I want to do this. Yeah. But to fully go through it, shit, being an MC made me want to be an MC. Because if I never tested the waters, I would have never knew that I could kick a rhyme. I would have never knew that I could tell a story. I would have never knew that there's fucking people in Europe that are banging my music out. So I might have to go to Europe.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, it's just crazy. Because even in the sense of like, and here's my tangent, but I'm just blowing it out real quick. Like, I check all my analytics for my Spotify to my Apple Music, everything. I'm a creator, so I like looking at that shit. I want to say 2 days ago, I had a spike of like 400 people in Norway, Europe, Sweden, Denmark that were all just listening to my shit.
Oh, yeah.
And it made me feel good because at the end of the day, I just wanted one person to hear it. And over the years, that number's just been growing just a little bit. And it just makes me feel good because I know I wanted to make a song that would help someone. And now I know somewhere in life, because of a DM or something that has occurred, like I have made a song that has fucking helped someone. Dude. And it's a beautiful fucking feeling, dude. It's a beautiful feeling. Just came full 360 though. I used to make songs that people could beat ass to. Now make some songs that people can, smile over, cry over.
Can beat ass to, but differently.
Yeah. And then shout out 97 Minutes. Why doesn't Teyek love me anymore?
Oh, baby. I don't even have to say his name because I already mentioned him in the interview. He better stop that right now. He better stop that. He doesn't call me anymore for our dinner dates. David.
Yeah, and then wasn't Davey the other one?
Yeah, the other one was
Ceasefire.
Dave from Ceasefire.
Oh shit, Pierce. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good dude. That's a good dude right there. And see that it's just the hardcore scene. Me and him years back never saw eye to eye. Just crew shit, bullshit.
Did you guys fight?
1-on-1, no. Our crews fought. Like, yeah, Heavy Hands and CYC probably fought a couple times. And that's one of my dudes now. Go to show. Like, when I do come out and I see him, I definitely make it known that I'm going to go say what's up to him.
Right.
Some of the people that I fucking fought are some of my good friends.
I love that. I fucking love that so much.
And that makes the best story because, as cliche as it sounds, we've all heard that from anyone that's come up in a hard music sense. But it's like, nah, man, I hate some of my best friends that I came up in the scene with, and I love some of the dudes that I hated the most. And that's just how it worked out. It's just how the cards fell on that one.
Dude.
But yeah, shout out David Pierce and Ceasefire. Shout out David Oman and my boys in 97 Minutes. Shout out to IE. IE's coming up right now, man, and it makes me proud to be witnessing the rebirth of something so nice.
Yeah.
Because you guys know, IE kind of died out when pandemic hit, and even a little bit before the pandemic. Shows were just moving. Oh no, the IE was just getting missed.
Yeah.
No one was coming out here no more. But 2024. It's gonna be a good
year.
year for hip hop. It's gonna be a good year for music, bro, in general.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just nice because a lot of the homies, like the homies in Division 1 booking that used to do inland hardcore, we're in the talks. We might be in some like hip hop hardcore shows and stuff like that. Like,
sick.
And just to even play that, to be considered, to be able to play with my homies, even though I'm not messing around in that ball field anymore, it's dope.
Yeah,
because it makes me feel happy to kind of come back and see the love still there that was always there that I never really cared for at the time. And it's just, I don't know, I don't have too many regrets, but feel bad for leaving. But you know, hardcore's still here.
Sometimes you got to walk away.
It didn't miss me, and it gave me room to miss it a little bit more. So that's what made it cool.
Yeah. Well, shit. Let's jump into our mental health check, man.
Oh, man. Our mental health check is where we like to check in weekly to see where we're at mentally. That way, if things are going great, what's happening in our lives, or what are we doing that's keeping that greatness, or if we're not doing so hot, maybe what's going on in our life, or maybe what are we neglecting to do that normally keeps us there. So, who wants to go first?
You, Michael.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Mentally, I feel like I'm doing well. Like, a lot of the things that keep me in a good place is singing. So I've been able to sing, man, I don't even want to know how many times we've said this on the show, but like trying to get back in shape. I kind of need to. I'm getting to that point where it's like no longer something to like, oh, just so I can like be on stage. It's like, no, just so I can like be here.
Yeah.
Just
so I can be alive.
So I can be.
Yeah, I just want to be here. Yeah, I feel like I'm doing good. These guys know this next week's gonna be pretty crazy, but yeah.
How's that?
I feel like mentally, I'm in a good place, and I feel like I'm in a good spot for just like the craziness that's coming. Good things, I feel.
Good things.
Good things. Teyek, where are you at this week?
Shit, this week? And it's funny because we were listening to one of the podcasts, and I knew when this question came up, I said, "Fuck, that's gonna be an awesome answer right here." Because I already knew we can go down it a bunch of ways, but just hearing you explain it a little bit more made sense. So I won't even go down the tangent. Mentally, I really try to always be good. As cliche as that sounds, like I lived with such an unhealthy mentality as a teenager up until my young adulthood, where just didn't really fucking care. And when you don't care about yourself, you just don't care about anything else. Right. And I try to make sure, whether it's talking to my lady about how my day at work went, or just calling my son up or texting him, "Hey, how was your day at school?" Just being able to talk to the people that are really in my life is what keeps me good. Because there's points where she might look at me on a Sunday and I'm tired because life is just handing me a shit sandwich and a shit storm all in the same day. And then I can look at her 2 days later and say, "You know what, man, like everything's good." Like even in the times where I trip and I'm like, "Nah, fuck it," just being able to vent, just being able to write a song, just being able to, like I'm saying, talk to people, because I did not do that for so long in my life that I buried stuff down when shit occurred. That's why I was so angry and so toxic in how I handled myself. That going on these tangents, talking to my lady, talking to my son, being able to talk to you guys, that's what really keeps me good. And in the biggest hindsight of things, I could present to you 12 problems I got right now, but shit, I'll handle them when I gotta handle them. I'll cross that bridge when I gotta cross that bridge. So I just want to say shout out to my lady for really doing the job that everybody else promised in life, and she fucking came through and delivered. And she never needed to, she wants to. So shout out baby girl, because she's doing the damn thing. And that's what
she's here right now, so he meant every word of that. Every single word.
Dang. Oh, don't crash so they're crying.
It's okay.
But no, man, that's me. Like that's you guys obviously know it now. Like I feel like I don't have too much to say, but get me talking about just shit that has me passionate, and you can't get me to shut up. And that's when I'm the most happy.
Yeah.
When no one's looking at me like, hey, fool, shut the fuck up. Like, you're bringing us all down right now. Like, when I could elevate and uplift the room instead of do what I used to do and just be that dark gray cloud, that is my ultimate, like, seeing the result and me being happy. Like, you're good where you're at. You could be anywhere else. You could be in the streets. You could be a fucking millionaire if you really applied yourself, but you're where you need to be.
Yeah.
And you're good.
Yeah. Love that. Michael.
Well, I don't know how to follow that up, but I'm good. You know, this week has been, or last week was kind of just busy, and I felt like at some point, I don't know if I was getting sick or if I just like I'd been just going so hard that my body was just was like, dude, fuck off,
Wear it down.
right? Mm-hmm. So we had because Torch Culture had a show last Friday, which ended up being a fucking sick show.
Yeah, it was good.
But like Tuesday night we had practice, and like as I was driving Steve home, like, and I practiced with earplugs in, my whole head was like fucked. Like it felt like I blew out my eardrums. It felt like I blew out my voice, all of it. And I was like, dude, I can't tell if this is me getting sick or if I'm just tired, and this was just a lot, right?
Or age, maybe?
Or it might be age. Yeah.
Happens to the best of us.
It might be age. You know, it's tough being in your 30s, Mike.
Touche.
You know, but yeah, I felt just shot. So like I ended up calling in sick on Wednesday and Thursday. I just was like, dude, I'm gonna rest. I'm just gonna, you know, like kind of take care of some things that I need to do, like for me. And like part of that was like just because I can't sit still. So part of that was just lay in bed, relax, watch some movies, watch some TV, whatever. The only thing I did pretty much on those days was I went and took my guitar, which was more like a mental health thing for me than anything else. Took my guitar over to this crazy madman tech in Ontario who fucking killed it on that thing. Yeah, I just kind of took some time to just chill. And then by Friday, like I was still tired, but I felt way better. And then the show was kind of funny because we were at the Haven in Pomona, you know, for our Boys in Brainless CD release show. And me and Gabe are standing up front and we're like, dude, like there's like 7 other shows going on tonight. And then there's this line in front of the venue. Not for us, for Glass House down the street. And I was like,
That was the best part about having shows right there. Like, even when it was Aladdin's, because you could see that big ass line from Glass House, and then all the hardcore kids and shit.
yeah. And then there's like 7 hardcore kids on the side. And so like and I think Mike waited in that line for a little bit. How long did you wait?
Did I tell my story? I got there early.
Yeah.
And I didn't get tickets because I was like, I'm gonna get there early. They should have some, you know, even if it does sell out, I should be there early enough. But I walk up to the line. There's a line around almost like around the building. I was just like, oh fuck, like dude, I fucked up. Dude. Like, I was like, dude, I knew Twisted King was sick, but I didn't know like
I didn't know they were this.
I don't know, like this. So like I was like, oh fuck. So I'm like in line, and I'm just not even like paying attention to like my surroundings or who's in line with me until one guy finally is like, hey, who are you here to see? I was like,
you know, it's bad when the line calls you out.
and right away I'm like thinking like, oh man, I shouldn't have worn a punk rock jacket because I'm wearing my No Effects jacket to a hardcore show. I was like, dude, is it really like that? And so I was just like, I don't know, like I know some of the dudes in Darsum and Torture Culture and Brainless, and he's like, okay, yeah, this is for the Glass House. And I was like, what? He's like, are you here to see this band? And he like pulled up the flyer. I was like, what? I don't know what that is. He's like, yeah, I think
TikTok.
He's like, you can just. He's like, you can just walk into your show. I'm pretty sure. And sure enough,
you could just walk in.
God damn.
and when I looked around, it was like these young kids, dude. Like I was like, oh shit. I was like, dude, what? Oh my gosh. Like, and then a little.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Yeah, I was a little nervous going into that show because
It was good though. Good turnout.
yeah, I was like, damn it, like we played early. I wasn't sure who was gonna be there. I wasn't sure what the turnout was gonna be like, and then I saw there's like 7 other shows. The Scowl show was like down the street.
Oh shit.
So I was like, fuck, we're fucked. And so like 7 rolls around, doors open, there's a couple kids trickling in here and there. Like, all right, cool. Like, regardless, we're gonna do what we do. We're gonna play, fucking, whether there's 2 kids here or 200 kids here, right? And right when we went to start our set, like, a bunch of people came in, a bunch of kids came in and packed it out. So
Yeah, good show.
yeah, it was a good show. It was fun, man. And that's
Who booked that with 5-7?
yeah.
They usually have good turnouts
Yeah.
from what I've been seeing. Like I'm saying, I don't go out too many shows no more, but even seeing little snippets on IG and shit,
Yeah.
they usually have little good turnouts for what they're doing, which is cool.
Yeah.
That's cool as hell.
So yeah, it ended up being rad. It was a cool little show. We played better than we've played in a long time.
That was redemption for that.
It was redemption for the
That's
last
always
time we
nice.
played.
At that venue.
At that venue, we fucked up.
That's all right.
It's all right. We
got it out.
Yeah, we got out our system. We made it up for
It
it.
happens.
So it was cool, man. It was actually a fun show. We got a cool little live video out of it that has Mike in it on one of the songs.
So I don't know I can't remember if we talked about this, but like, so I go up on one of their songs, and so the last time they played there, I went up. Last time I was there, I was wearing my favorite jacket, No Effects one, and so I was like, I'm about to go on, same venue, same
jacket.
band, same guest spot, and wearing the same fucking thing that I was wearing last time. So I like had to take off my jacket and my hoodie that was underneath it. I was like, I can't go wearing the same gear. So anyway, I don't think anyone cared or noticed, but
I don't think they did, and you probably would have looked cooler with it on for the video.
probably, yeah. Nah, dude, I was wearing my Zabobble t-shirt, dude.
True.
Even harder.
Yeah.
Not a bad choice.
But yeah, everything's been good, man. We can't complain. Can't complain. Let's talk playlist before we get out of here.
Yeah.
So we have a Spotify playlist that we put together for pretty much the podcast.
Okay.
So 2 things. One, we want to throw one of your jams on there. Your choice. What song of yours would you want to put?
Righteous Ones featuring Speak.
Okay.
Just because that, like I said, there's 78. That one is one of the ones.
Heck yeah.
And then what's a jam that you've been, listening to that's put you in a good headspace? Could be anything.
Any
genre, any music, whatever.
What have I been listening to?
Shit. I know this question's gonna happen. Yeah.
You always forget.
I always forget.
So I'll go ahead and say mine. There's this apparently Australian metalcore cartoon band called Lost Souls, and they have a song called Childhood Died, and it's basically about how all the new Star Wars series sucked and how upset they
So
were that
fucking
like
good,
that
man.
Luke Skywalker was kind of a bitch in the new like they're like, how the fuck can a Jedi die for being tired in the song? And so the song's hilarious, and it's actually done really, really well. So that's my jam for this week. Lost Souls. They're basically like a metalcore gorillas.
Now that I'm thinking about it, and the song's just been reoccurring, because I know we're gonna catch him at Sick New World, but I've been listening to Hypnotize on repeat by System of a Down, kind of like religiously. But then I've been going through like their whole catalog. Like, I think I bumped Toxicity the other day. The album with Sugar and shit like that. Like, I think the first album. I forgot how much I fucking love that band.
Didn't Desmadre cover Sugar?
Yeah.
Our homies in Desmadre covered.
Yeah.
That's
Sugar.
awesome. That's tight.
And it went off. It's sick.
I should release that one.
Mike, we want to throw on the playlist.
Oh, dude. I think just because I've been I've been on this kind of kick lately, and I think I should probably go back to visiting some of the heavier stuff because
Oh, Fiddler on the Roof?
I've been
Or-
putting on some. But let's throw on Anesthesia by Shai Hulud.
Damn.
Nice.
Could just say Carnifex.
Nah, dude. I mean, they're sick, but I've
Shai Hulud at the showcase was some of the dopest shows.
dude.
Ever.
See, but we don't even want to start talking about showcase, man. That'd be a whole other 12 hours.
Dude. So, obviously, the Pitbull Dan. Yeah. So, my little quick story with him. So, this is like long time ago, but we were playing Trilogy Theater, and I think he was the promoter of the show. And when we were going up, everybody's like, "Oh, dude, he's not gonna pay you guys. Like, he's not gonna do you guys. You guys singing your shit. Like, he's not gonna be into it." And so, we go to the show, and I didn't know who he was. And we just started talking, and I forget what T-shirt I was wearing, but he kind of made a comment on my shirt, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, I saw him at Showcase and stuff." He's like, "That's cool." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Honestly, I'm like new to hardcore." I was like, "I grew up in punk rock," and we started talking about punk. And
Oh, big punk head.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about punk, and like I was like, "Oh, this guy's so cool," and everybody's like, "Dude, that's Dan."
Yeah.
I was like, "Dude, he's cool as fuck."
He's nice
As
fuck.
soon as you get to know him and Art, like that was the crazy thing because everyone just big motherfuckers, you know what they rolled with and shit. So it was like, oh shit, some of the nicest dudes, bro.
Yeah.
So genuine, some of the most genuine people you could ever meet.
Yeah, we got paid, we got taken care of. I was like, "What's the big
I
deal?"
don't know
Dan?"
what you guys are talking
Yeah,
about.
I was like,
we got
we
taken care of.
had a great time. So,
Sick.
Yeah, shout out that boy Dan. That's a good motherfucker right there.
So you want to plug any socials or anything?
Man, if you have never experienced Teyek and this is sort of your first from seeing me with the boys, find me on Instagram at Welcome to the Teyek Show, all one word, Teyek. Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Deezer, everything except SoundCloud pretty much. I mean, you can find me, Teyek. Bang out any of those, add them to your current playlist, your mother's playlist, your father's playlist, whoever that listens to music. And that's pretty much it. We got shows cooking up, so if people do follow the socials, they definitely see them. That's it. The only other thing I want to shout out is, and I know he's gonna laugh when he hears it, but shout out those boys from Harsh Reality. Shout out my boy Adrian. Shout out my boy Rich. Little known fact, Rich is one of my producers that makes music. So besides being a dope ass guitar player, he's one of the most intricate producers I could have ever come across. And dude's been my good homie since probably 14, 13. So a while, because he grew up in the city and everything. And yeah, I just wanted to shout two of those motherfuckers out because they've been two people from the scene that have supported my music since I started. Adrian was in one of my first music videos when everyone said they would pull up. He was one of the only people that pulled up. And Rich has gave me some of the best beats that I could rap over.
Dude, I honestly, Adrian was, I think, one of the first people that I saw post your shit.
Yeah.
And that was when I first saw you a while back. So, yeah.
dude, shout out Adrian.
And that's
man.
what I'm saying. That's
Hometown hero, dude.
yeah, the GOAT, that boy. He was another one who I saw come up in the scene. We saw each other at the same fucking local shows, and he was someone who I always dogged out just because of my ego, my pride, and fucking 15, 16 years later, he's one of the best dudes. One of my best dudes, bro. And he's seriously someone I'm thankful for because that motherfucker has told me when shit didn't sound good, and he tells me when I have some shit that's great.
Yeah.
And I can truly say he's someone that I'm glad to have on my team. So shout out you, homeboy. Nothing but love on this side. You know that one.
Hell yeah. One of the most, I'll throw this in there, one of the most stand-up dudes in the scene. Straight up. In the scene, out of the scene, whatever, just one of the most stand-up dudes.
Supportive, man. Supportive, and then he has a sick ass band.
and they're fine.
Yeah, my enemy's hero. Love you, big dog.
Wasn't me.
Shit. Well, for us at Walking Blind Pod everywhere, walkingblindpod@gmail.com. Merch store was updated so that just the shirts are up. Once again, those sizes are like super limited at this point. Smalls and mediums, a couple of like the bigger sizes. Yeah, you guys can get those without the bundle now up on the site. Feels on Wheels is back. It is
In the shop or back here?
no, it's here. It's here. It's back here. Don't jinx it again, Mike. Yeah, we're that's still our ongoing project. We do still have the GoFundMe going for the Feels on Wheels. Once again, shout out and thank you to everybody who has contributed to that. Small steps to get that back on the road.
Yes. Continue to help support by following, liking, and subscribing.
Ooh, you're getting good at
Getting
this.
to practice.
Getting good at this. But that's it. We love you guys. We will see you guys soon. Peace.
No way to handle my aggression.